I'm recording this from behind the front desk, in the little office with the sticky door that swells in the rain. The mini-fridge rattles like it's scared of the dark, and the vending machine keeps coughing up the same packet of peanuts that no one buys. If you find this, please do what I should have done the first night. Let it sit in the dark, leave it alone, and keep driving. Don't take the exit. Don't follow the blue sign. Don't put your name in a book that forgets you once you've written it. And if you ever work a night shift at a motel, any motel, never answer the phone after midnight. They trained me on the switchboard my first night. It's not a fancy system, just a cheap little PBX with green digits and a hiss under every dial tone like it's breathing through a paper bag. Rooms are mapped to buttons. Red lights blink when someone calls the desk, and if a room calls another room, it shows up as an internal line. Most nights the board is a dead field. People text now. They order food in apps. They avoid talking to strangers. You learn the rhythms. Check-ins around 9. Ice machine stomps at 10. A drunk lockout at 11. Then the long stretch where the building goes very still and feels like it's remembering something it didn't want to. The manager is Mr. Keen. He has a tie he never tightens, and a way of looking at you that makes you feel like you walked into the middle of a sentence. On my second shift, he slid the battered binder across the counter and pointed to the map of the rooms. We're full from 101 to 120, empty most of the second floor, he said. If anyone complains about noise, move them to 208 or 214. There, the quiet ones. He tapped the switchboard and then the analog landline on the back wall. The old one with a real bell that rings like a fire drill and a cord that could moor a small boat. If that one rings after 2, he said, don't answer it. I laughed, a quick wrong sound, and he didn't. I'm serious. Let it ring. It's probably a fax from hell. He said it like a joke. I carried it like a rule. I didn't used to be this obedient. When my sister Mara was alive, she used to call me at bad hours, from worse places, and I'd answer because she was my sister, because the sound of her breath on a phone was proof she still existed. Then there was the night I didn't, the night I picked up on the second call, the night the first got missed, and the second came too late, and the third came from a stranger who kept saying my name, like a question he wasn't sure how to ask. You don't need the details. They're heavy, and I've carried them long enough. Just know this, a missed call can be a door you never close again. Maybe that's why I took the job at the Northway Motel. Maybe I was trying to sit right next to the door and keep it from moving. First week, nothing. Dripping gutters, a cricket that had set up shop inside the ice machine, 2 couples who made me blush in the same elevator, an hour apart. The switchboard slept. The landline on the wall gathered dust. I read the guest ledger out of boredom and learned the way people write their names when they want to be found versus when they hope they won't be. I started bringing a thermos of coffee because the lobby pot tastes like it's brewed through pennies. The first time the phone rang, the wall one, I looked up with a stupid grin like I'd been chosen. It was 2:17 exactly. The digital clock over the coffee station did that cheap lead flicker and landed on it like a bird landing on a wire light. Certain, obvious. The bell inside the landline was bright and urgent, a sound from another century that insists on being answered. I didn't pick it up. I watched it ring, counted to 8, waited for it to stop, and when it did, I felt like I'd done something right. I felt like I was standing up in church at the right verse. The second night, the same 2:17, 8 rings, silence. Mr. Key, rule making sense in that way. Rules make sense when you obey them and nothing bad happens. The third night, the switchboard lit at 2:17, 2 on, internal line, 3 digits I didn't recognize, a room number that isn't a room number. Oh. The board does that when a call comes from the office, or from a dead extension, or from nothing. The landline and the switchboard rang together like the building had decided to harmonize with itself. And I told myself, this is funny, this is glitchy, this is one of those things you'll tell someone, and they'll roll their eyes and you'll laugh because it's only electricity and an old bell. On the 5th ring, I answered. Front desk. This is me, I said on the other end of the line. I say me like it's impossible, like it didn't happen. But it happened exactly the way you think it didn't. My voice coming back to me with the same breath at the end of each word. The same dry mouth. The same little click I have when I swallow too fast. It was my voice slowed down a fraction, like a record turning just under speed. Come upstairs, I said. Room Dezenters Yoitu. I could have hung up. I could have said no, wrong number, funny prank. I could have done the manager's version of not answering. Obey, not just the letter but the spirit of the rule. Instead, I set the receiver in its cradle very gently, like I didn't want to wake it, and took the master key from its hook. The corridor to the second floor stairs has a ceiling stain like a country on a bad map. The stairs creak in the middle. Where everyone steps the carpet onto is patterned to hide stains and manages to hide itself if you stare too long. 206, 207, 208. The door was closed, and the brass numbers were straight, not like 209s, which are always a little sly. When I slid the key in, it was warm. Warm like a hand holds a coin. Warm like a mouth after it says your name. The room was not special. 2 beds with matching floral bedspreads that looked like the wallpaper gave up and went to sleep. A table, 2 chairs, a TV on a dresser that had seen too many elbows. The bathroom door was open a polite inch. The air smelled like old soap and carpet cleaner, like the memory of clean dot. The phone on the bedside table vibrated softly, the way phones used to when the ring is set low and the bell wants to be considerate. The receiver settled against its cradle as I watched, a small shiver like a bird breathing. On the table beside it, the motel notepad lay open. A note stared up at me in my handwriting. My hasty slant, my habit of crossing my T's long as if I want to measure something. It said, checked in, 217 room, 208 name, my name. That should have been the worst of it. It wasn't. The worst was the feeling under the note, the sure, cold sense that the paper had been there a long time, that the indentation of the letters lived in the cardboard backing that I had written. This not minutes ago, but days or weeks before I ever took the keys from the hook. I tore the page off. There was another underneath with the same words. I tore that one too. A third, a fourth. On the fifth, the words blurred and turned into someone else's hand, tighter, higher, slanted left, like they were trying to run off the page and couldn't. Checked in, 217, room 208, name, Derek N., not me. The sixth was a different pen entirely. Cheap blue ink bled into soggy paper. Checked in, 217, name, Margaret S. The seventh said nothing at all, just left the name line blank and drew a little square where the room number should go. Carefully shaded window that didn't open into anything. I put all the pages back and ran my hand over them to make them look undisturbed. I hate that I did that, as if it would matter to anyone or anything that I pretended not to have seen. The phone rang, not the wall phone downstairs. This one. It rang the way a telephone rings in a movie from the 80s, insistent and bright. An ordinary. I lifted the receiver and heard the hiss of the line, then the sound of a room, a chair creaking, a fridge humming. A small click as a clock rolled from 1 minute to the next. My voice came through and I felt my whole body go cold, like I'd just remembered a name I'd promised myself I would never say again. Front desk, I told myself. It's me. I didn't speak, I listened. My voice on the line sounded a little farther from the phone than I felt in the moment. A small delay, not an echo. A distance, like the difference between a mirror and a window at night. Don't hang up, I told me. Come upstairs. I let the handset fall back to the cradle and sat down on the bed. I sat very carefully, out at the corner where I wouldn't leave a dent, because I had the sudden, stupid thought that if I molded the bed to me, the room would know me later, the way a dog knows a lap. I sat until my legs began to shake, and then I left, pulling the door too softly because I couldn't bear the latch's voice. Back at the desk, I stared at the switchboard, half expecting the little green digits to still show 000 or to spell something. Impossible. The only light was the one for the lobby phone. I stared and waited. At 2:19, the first guest of the night called to ask how to make the AC stop sounding like a dying animal. I told him to set the fan from high to auto, and promised somebody would look in the morning. My voice on the call sounded normal. My voice in my head rehearsed how I would tell Mr. Keene what had happened, and turned every verb into a condition. If, might, could, would. He came in at 6 with a coffee and a sympathy look that felt like it had a specific reason I didn't want to ask about. He didn't ask why I was sweating through a dumb, thin polo in late October. He didn't say, "I told you not to answer." He didn't have to. The next night, I went back to 208. I told myself I was checking the batteries in the smoke detector, because 206 had chirped all evening, and it made the whole wing feel like a cardiogram. I told myself I was making my rounds. The truth. I wanted proof I could hold. The visible kind. The kind you can show a reasonable person and they'll say, "Oh sure." And then the weight is shared, because that's what proof does. It spreads the load. The proof I got was this. I pulled the phone line out of the wall, set the cord on the carpet like a dead snake, and at 2:17 it rang dot. There is no way to tell you how wrong a ring sounds when the wire that's meant to carry it lies limp on the carpet inches from your shoe. If you've ever heard a dog make a human syllable and then pretend you didn't. If you've ever heard your name in a stranger's mouth, said exactly like your mother said it, when you were in trouble, that's the same kind of wrong. I didn't answer this time. I watched the handset shiver against the cradle as if it wanted something. I folded the motel stationery over itself until it became a small, hard square and held it under my tongue the way you hold medicine. The ringtone wound down, the bell's brightness sinking into itself, and I walked back to the desk making a resolution I would break before I reached the stairs. I won't go back up. I started, keeping a list in the desk drawer. Nighttime, ring pattern, sound on the line, voice, if any. The list looked like a sound engineer's notebook and felt like a prayer. Night 4, 2:17, 8 rings, my voice, come upstairs. Night 5, 2:17, ring and click, a whisper that might have been the fridge or might have been my name. Night 7 to 17, the PBX shows 208, gives front, wall phone rings 2, pick up, silence, then breath. Then the small spare cough I make when I'm about to say something I don't want to say. Night 9, 2:17, phones ring in unison, my voice says, "Don't let it go to voicemail." And I hang up so fast the receiver chips the cradle. On night 10, the voice wasn't mine. The line opened, and I heard the damp quiet of a bathroom and the small slap of water against porcelain like someone's foot had made a ripple at the edge of the tub. Then someone said my name in a way that made the space above my heart cave in like a tent losing its center pole. "Mara," I said. I didn't mean to say it. The name leaped out like it had been waiting in my throat with a bag packed. "You weren't there," she said. Not angry, not sad, just making a note in a ledger. "You said you were coming and then you weren't there," I answered. I said, "The old lie found the shape of my mouth easily." "You know," I answered. "Not the first one," she said. And a drop of water found the drain in the line and spiraled there so I could hear it. Gloat dot. I went upstairs like a sleepwalker. I took the stairs 2 at a time and at the landing stopped, dizzy with the conviction that I was moving toward my own voice and that everyone else in the building could hear the same thing. I heard and was quietly moving their furniture over the floor and setting their suitcases on the beds, trying to make the room around them feel more like a room. The handle of 208 turned and the bolt slid like a tongue agreeing with a lie. The phone lay with its wire like a slack vein. The mirror over the dresser showed the room behind me and the door open and the hallway beyond the door and the desk downstairs and the person at the desk whose head was bent over a notebook. And for a second I thought I was looking at the past, or the near future. Some left behind framed the mirror favored, and then the person at the desk moved their hand, and I recognized the way I hold a pen when I hate what I'm about to write. I put the receiver to my ear and listened for my sister. The line returned, the sound of my own mouth breathing and the heartbeat of the receiver against my palm where the plastic was just a little warmer than the air. "I don't know which one of us you are," I said softly, "but I hear you. Don't hang up," I told me. My voice this time wasn't coaxing. It wasn't even persuasive. It was resigned. The way you ask someone to sit down because the news is easier that way. "Why?" I asked. "What happens if I stay on the line?" "You check in," I said. "You stop pretending there's another choice." I don't know when I started leaving notes for myself. Small, practical ones first, because the brain trusts those. Do not answer the wall phone. Coil the cord and leave it on the file cabinet. Put the master key on the coffee maker so you have to touch heat to take it. Then larger ones in the log. 217 is a ritual, not an accident. You will not be you if you keep doing this. If you leave a message for yourself, choose words you won't mistake for someone else's kindness. On the 13th night, I tried to cheat. I set the microwave clock an hour ahead and covered the lobby clock with an out for maintenance sign and left my watch in the employee locker. I put on music, low, a humming woman's voice that kept promising me it would be fine, because songs always promise that, and I sat with my back to the wall phone and my eyes on the switchboard, and when the bang rang at 2:17 on its own clock, and 3:17 on the microwave, and a polite little never time on the PBX, I pressed both palms to my ears and said no, no, no. The ring went through my wrists and into my bones. I don't know how to describe that part if you've never heard a building decide it wants something. The ring found my mouth and sat there, waiting. I thought about the way Mara used to say my name on the first ring and then say it again differently. On the second, if I didn't pick up, hope, then bravado, then the knife wrapped in a joke. I let the phone ring until it didn't. And when it stopped, I realized I was shaking so hard the little key hooks on the pegboard were chiming. At 2:18, the line rang again and the PBX showed the call coming from the office I was sitting in. I was looking at the phone in my office. It was not ringing. The panel said it was. The sound was in my ear anyway. Bright, smug, inevitable. I answered, because that is what the bell's shape in the air makes you do. It was me and not me. It was my voice assessed by someone who loved me less. "Pick up on the first ring next time," I said. "Don't make me do all the work." "What work?" I asked, even as the answer formed in the corner of the room where my sister's name lived. "What is this for?" "To get you upstairs," I said, "so I can hang up." The night after that, I brought a cheap little audio recorder. I left it running on the desk, pressed a sticky note onto it that said, "If you are me, please don't stop this," and went upstairs at 2:15 to wait in 208. The recorder downstairs captured the call beginning at 2:17, my voice telling me not to hang up, the small scuffle sound when I, downstairs me, shifted in the swivel chair and knocked my knee into the desk, the breath against the mouthpiece that sounds like a person trying to keep from crying. The recorder captured my voice, telling me to come upstairs. It captured the silence where I must have stood. It captured the click of a handset returning to plastic. And then it captured the second ring from the office phone to 208. The one in my hand a perfect loop, written in bad tape hiss. I listened to the whole thing the next day with the volume up, expecting some tell, some seam in the sound. Some break that would prove the call was stitched together by bad wires, rather than by me. There was none. There were only our breath, and our voices, and the faint, shamefaced hum of a building that refuses to say its own name. I started noticing other people's paperwork, a folded note left under the ice machine listing times and ring patterns from 2 winters ago. The edge of a sticky note stuck to the underside of the front desk, where a thumb had worried it almost loose. "Don't answer." A page torn from the phone company manual with the line, "Phantom rings can occur due to ripped before the explanation." A room receipt stapled to the back of the staff clipboard with a name I recognized. Not Mara, mine, dated weeks before I was hired. I am not stupid, I am scared. Those are different things. I know what a loop is. I know what superstition makes out of noise and repetition. I know what guilt does to an ear. I tell you this so you will believe me when I say I did try to break it. I changed the 217 pattern by standing in the stairwell at 216, by picking up the receiver on the first ring and saying, before my other mouth could speak, don't. I changed it by letting it go to 6 rings, 10, 20, until the bell stumbled and slowed and the silence afterward had a shape. I changed it by calling out from 208 at 212, punching 0 for the desk, telling myself, it's me, before the ritual could begin. That last one did the worst thing. It worked. I answered front desk, and I heard my own mouth say, come up. And in the empty space after up my sister breathed in to say my name, and I almost said it for her to save her the hurt. I didn't that time. The night before last, the voice on the line said something new. We should stop pretending, it said. You're the one calling. I'm answering, I said, as if the difference mattered. You're the one calling, it said again, with the brittle kindness of a nurse who cannot afford to cry at work, and the line popped in a soft, wet way that hurt my ear, and I realized I was holding the wrong receiver to my head. The office wall phone still on its hook, while the phone EHL in 208 lay on the counter downstairs where I'd left it, and the PBX glowed 000 and the clock over the coffee station clicked from 216 to 217 like a tongue finding a tooth and knowing exactly which one hurts. I don't know whether the room picked me or whether I picked the room. I don't know if the time makes the call or the call makes the time. I have theories the way people have whether private ones, told with quiet authority and wrong as soon as they leave your mouth. I think 217 is the minute my sister's car left the shoulder. I think it's every minute someone sat in a motel and decided not to dial and then did. I think the building collects that minute the way telephone wires collect birds. The weight of it quiet, normal, almost beautiful until you notice there are a lot of them. Too many of them. Until the wire dips hard and something in you dips with it. Tonight will be my last night here. Mr. Keene doesn't know that yet, and maybe he does. Maybe he looks at people as they arrive, notes the way their eyes snag on the switchboard, and knows how long they'll last before the night teaches them the wrong song. I've put my keys on the file cabinet, where the heat will make me think. I've written the note to whoever comes after if it rings at 217. Let it ring. I've put the recorder on a fresh battery and held it in both hands before setting it down, as if warmth might make it tell the truth. I will answer at 216 instead. I will be the one who calls. I will say my name first, as if that could anything. I will tell myself to come upstairs, and I will tell myself not to hang up, and I will tell myself, when the other voice comes, the one that sounds like bathwater cooling and a laugh, you don't deserve that. I am here. That this time I am here. If I don't come back downstairs, if the ledger has my name where a stranger's should be, if the notepad in 208 knows me better than my own skin, then leave this on the desk where the bell sits. Someone will press play. Someone always does. The story will tell itself again in my voice, in yours, in the small borrowed breath of a building that will not admit what it knows. If you hear the landline ring where you are and it is the wrong kind of night and your teeth ache with the sound, you remember from a room you've never been in. You can stand up and walk away. You can let the bell become a soft thing and then nothing. You can open the door to the morning and breathe and feel stupid and alive. You can. People do. Most don't. Most stand where I stood and say front desk, as if there is comfort in a job title when the person on the other end of the line is you. I can hear the compressor in the fridge click off. I can hear the hallway carpet sigh under someone's step, and I know it's me because the camera over the elevator shows nobody, shows a still frame where I am meant to be. The microwave says 1:44. The lobby clock says 2:11. My watch has stopped at 2:17. The way a bad heart stops at a bad number and refuses to tick again. I don't know whether that matters. The phone on the wall inhales. The first ring comes in like the edge of a wave, bright and unashamed. Front desk, I say, and I say my name, and the voice on the line, my voice, answers with the tired patience of a person who has done something difficult too many times to expect thanks. Come upstairs, I tell me, and I go, and the stairs welcome me the way stairs do when they learn a foot. And the door at the top of the landing remembers my hand, and the room is the room, banal and wicked, and the notepad is not empty, and the phone rings where its wire isn't, and I pick up in both places the way a person picks up a burden and calls it by the right word at last. If I am lucky, the loop closes with my name and not with my sister's. If I am lucky, the voice that says stay on the line will be mine, and I will not make a stranger do my work for me. If I am lucky, this ends with a click. If I am unlucky, you will hear this, and the sound inside your own house will make you turn, and you will notice the phone you forgot you owned, the one you keep plugged in because you don't know what else to do with old things, and you will think it's silly to be afraid, and you will answer it a minute that doesn't belong to you, and my voice will be there to tell you what to do next. Don't let it be me. Don't let it be you. Don't let it ring. Walk away. If you must write your name anywhere, write it somewhere the paper can forgive you. And if you can't, if the minute finds you the way it found me, if the landline breathes like an animal that has learned your footstep and loves you for it, remember this: it's still only a phone, and you are still a person in a room, and the only thing you have to do to win is nothing at all. The clock over the coffee station clicks. The bell warms its throat. The building prepares to speak with both our mouths. 2:17.